When Adam and Eve realized they were naked after eating the forbidden fruit, their first instinct was to cover themselves. Genesis 3:7 tells us they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. That detail, fig leaves, may seem incidental, but it actually teaches a profound lesson on the nature of sin. Of all the leaves they could have chosen, fig leaves have a unique and dangerous property. They can actually burn you. The sap of fig leaves contains furanocoumarins, compounds that react with sunlight. When exposed to UV rays, they can cause chemical burns, inflammation, blistering, and even long-term discoloration of the skin. The damage isn't immediate. It only becomes visible when exposed to light. This adds a powerful layer of meaning to the story. The very leaves Adam and Eve used to hide their shame may have actually caused them pain, but only once they were exposed to light. This is symbolic of how sin works in our lives. At first, it may seem manageable or hidden, but when brought into the presence of God, the light, it not only becomes visible, it hurts. Their attempt to cover their shame with fig leaves didn't protect them. It exposed them further, physically and spiritually. It's a striking picture of how our efforts to hide our sin from God often end up wounding us even more deeply. When God appears in the story, he doesn't scold them for being naked. He asks, "Who told you that you were naked?" It's a moment of piercing clarity. They're not just ashamed, they're injured. The fig leaves would have caused literal discomfort or pain once God's presence, his light, shined on them. It's as if the very act of trying to conceal their sin outside of God's grace backfired, leaving behind lasting scars. That's what sin does. It burns, it scars, and when brought into the light of truth, it reveals the damage we've done to ourselves. But God doesn't leave them that way. In Genesis 3:21, it says that God made coats of skins and clothed them. This wasn't just a better wardrobe, it was a sacrifice. An animal had to die. Blood had to be shed. For the first time in history, death entered the world, not as punishment, but as provision. God replaced their painful fig leaves with something lasting and redemptive. This foreshadows the ultimate covering that would come through Jesus Christ. Just as the skins covered Adam and Eve's shame, Christ's atonement covers ours, not by our effort, but by his sacrifice. The message here is profound. We sin and we reach for fig leaves. Or in other words, we try to hide or fix things ourselves, but those efforts often wound us even more. God sees us in our pain, exposes the reality of our sin with his light, and instead of condemning us, he offers a covering. But that covering comes at a cost. Someone had to die. The fig leaves of our self-reliance are replaced by the robes of righteousness bought by the blood of the Lamb. The use of fig leaves in the story of Adam and Eve isn't random, it's intentional. It paints a vivid and painful picture of the nature of sin, the futility of self-atonement, and the redeeming power of Christ. It's a quiet but powerful declaration woven into the very leaves of Eden. We can't heal ourselves. Only Christ can cover our sins. And he already has.
Thank you for watching. I hope you've been inspired and uplifted. If so, consider sharing this video with others to help spread the light. What's a spiritual insight you've had lately? If you're comfortable, share it in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next video.